What's up, 5-9 Gaming crew? I'm Platinum Chin here with Claire Bear to discuss the current rumors of a reported brand new Knights of the Old Republic currently in development. Now, this new report comes from VCG, who credits their findings to Star Wars insider Bespin Bulletin, who revealed in a recent podcast that a new installment to the fan favorite RPG series is indeed in development at an unnamed game developer. This comes off the heels of the recent news from Lucasfilm Games that they would be extending their gaming licenses to developers outside of EA. Now, we already have confirmed news about an open world Star Wars adventure that is not KOTOR, coming from a studio within Ubisoft called Massive Entertainment. So, more news on future Star Wars games is always so exciting.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, Claire, let me ask you, how do you feel that this KOTOR is going to be handled by another developer that isn't BioWare or Obsidian, two very strong household names for big, longtime fans of this series?
I know a lot of KOTOR fans, and I'm not speaking for anyone here besides myself. Let me clarify. A lot of them love BioWare and would love to see BioWare keep doing it, but I think it is probably time to try and give it to another studio to make it. What I'm excited about, though, is that they're saying it's a studio we're not going to expect. So it's probably not going to be a big name studio that, a AAA studio. It might be AAA studio, but I'm excited that it's going to be from a studio who probably needs to prove themselves in this type of genre and making a Star Wars game, because that's not an easy thing to do. But I think it's going to be someone who needs to prove themselves, someone who's going to be hungry. So that makes me excited that we're gonna get some new blood working on Star Wars games.
Yeah, and
what about you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I always find it, because I was very very nervous to hear that Respawn was making Jedi Fallen Order, but after seeing their trailers and eventually playing the game, I am all for new developers or even just other established developers taking a part of a series that I hold dear to my heart. And because what Claire Bear was talking about here in the article, Bespin Bulletin in the podcast stated that I talked to a couple of people, and I also found that Jason Schreier said that it's not with EA and will never guess who the studio is that's making the game. So, put your guesses down in the comments below if you want, just to see who's right in the end. Moving on, what would you like to see in this new KOTOR game? And do you see it coming to consoles like the originals, or do you think it'll be another PC exclusive like the Old Republic?
I think it's absolutely going to be on consoles. No way they pull an Old Republic and just put it on PC. You lose so much of your audience by doing that. And if you're trying to make money, and you're making an RPG like KOTOR, you put it on all consoles,
Exactly. It wouldn't make sense to alienate a huge fan base of Star Wars, especially with Disney behind, being the main head honcho behind this operation. They're not gonna keep people away from being able to play their Star Wars game.
Absolutely.
Continue.
When it comes from what I want to see in this new KOTOR game, I don't need a whole lot of origin type stuff, but I think they do need to kind of reestablish the franchise, because we talked about it. It's been 15, 16 years from the last KOTOR game. That's a lot of new blood, a lot of young kids who have fallen in love with the Star Wars franchise, but might have been too young to get into KOTOR. So I think you kind of need to reestablish the brand and re-pull people back into what was loved about it before. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, completely. I think they definitely have to find a good mix of new and old. Kind of like when you're looking at remakes of things like Final Fantasy, where it's
exactly.
how do we keep the same love and feel of the old game, but also bring in people who just, turn-based isn't their thing. Because, that's what KOTOR was. It was a turn-based RPG game, which was so fun to play back in the day, but you release it like that now, it's going to feel a little dated. So I expect to see some huge improvements. Kind of going off the Old Republic, how do you think they'll integrate multiplayer into this game? If at all, do you expect things like PvP, co-op, maybe raid like missions? What do you expect to see from a brand new RPG, Knights of the Republic?
My hope is that it's not there at all. Which that might be. I know that might not be the best take to have, but I'm not buying KOTOR to play multiplayer. It might be cool to work with some of my friends and maybe a co-op setting, right? But I do not want a PvP, maybe PvE type stuff. But like mostly, if anything, I want maybe a couch co-op experience. But I'm not even pushing for that. I just want good, solid, single-player driven RPG. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly,
what about you? What do you?
Dude, I completely agree. It's one of those games that I love single player games. So when I'm playing this, I want a Star Wars game that I can just let myself get into and not have to worry about anything. I don't want to worry about ranking. I don't want to worry about co-op bosses. I mean,
no battle royale season pass for
now,
you?
if they add something later, like say, how Ghost of Tsushima was, where they made Ghost of Tsushima and then later they added the Ghost of Tsushima Legends to it as a fun co-op thing. Focus on the core game. Give me a beautiful story. Give me some fun RPG gameplay, and I'm sold and I'm happy. I think that's the perfect example, because I felt like Ghost really came out finished, polished, really good game. And then the DLC after was just like this extra thing that I had no expectations for, and didn't really impact how the single player seemed to have been made, and it was just something fun, to mess around with for a couple hours. So if they did something like that, I'd agree. I think that's a good way to go about it too. Totally. And speaking of bringing things into the new meta, making sure that the game is up to date, as unfortunate it is, we all know as fans that the old KOTORs are actually deemed non-canon since Disney's purchase of Lucasfilms. Yeah, it's very tragic. However, according to this article right here by VCG, it says that both like I said, both KOTOR games are deemed non-canon. However, some elements... Oh, sorry, this is the wrong thing. But I'm looking at the wrong thing. But they're looking to make some bits and pieces of the game canon to fit into Disney's time frame of the new Star Wars. Now, that also gets me thinking, is this going to be more of a sequel, or is this going to be more of a spiritual successor kind of a thing, more of a reboot of the series? Is this KOTOR 3 or is this KOTOR 1.5,
Yeah, I think because of the drive to make everything fit into the same universe, it has to be a remake or a reboot of KOTOR, essentially. I'm sure there will be many callbacks, some things that don't really make sense if you haven't played it before, but I do expect the game to fully function in the current Star Wars universe, good or bad, Yeah, I think that's just what Disney's vision overall for Lucasfilm game is going to be. So I completely seeing this playing into the universe that we're building up right now.
Yeah, and it makes sense going off their comic books that they're making, their novelizations of the movies. They have so many more mediums. Yeah, they have so many more mediums than just the movies that they're pushing into the canon. It would make no sense to not also have their games sink into this universe as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think it's good, because I think they're scared to, with film and TV, kind of branch into time periods of Star Wars universe that isn't within that central timeline we know from the 9 movies, right?
Yep.
I think with the games, they're going to be more willing to push the boundaries and tell different stories, because they have, you have more time in a 40-hour game than you do in a 2-hour movie to explore.
You completely.
So I think it's a good opportunity for them to expand the canon in general and really get deeper into the lore, and I think they can do that well in something like KOTOR.
Yeah. Totally. Well, guys, those are our thoughts on this breaking Star Wars news. Are you guys excited for the new KOTOR game? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stay as updated as possible on future Star Wars news and everything else gaming. My name's the Platinum Chin, here with Claire Bear, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.